Key point 1. The perfect marriage equation exists. Marriage is a significant milestone. It's a fascinating event, and many people look forward to finally uniting with their partners on a legal and social level. But just as marriage is widespread, so is divorce. So what is it that turns the sweet union of two lovers into a bitter separation? Most people overlook that marriage should always have two components, love and respect. Of course, these feelings should flow in both directions. However, there's a nuanced point to consider. Emerson Eggerichs argues that in a harmonious marriage, men might often prioritize receiving respect, while women might focus more on receiving love. This perspective suggests this distinction has to do with the core emotional needs of each gender. Eggerichs believes that men usually do not question their wives' love for them. All they need is respect. Once they feel respected, they often reciprocate with love. Women, on the other hand, strive for men's love. While this formula may appear simple, it's important to remember that individual preferences and principles can shape what each person values in a relationship. A successful marriage requires mutual effort and reciprocation of energy between both spouses. Whether you are a young lover willing to build a strong bond with your partner, a spouse navigating marital issues, or a divorcee seeking insight into what went wrong in your past, this summary will serve as a powerful guide. It contains practical advice that will illuminate the intricacies of romantic relationships and help you strengthen your connection with your other half. Ready to elevate your marriage or relationship to a whole new level? Then jump right in. Key point 2. Why men and women clash. An entirely harmonious marriage is rare because finding people who perfectly complement each other is nearly impossible. Everyone is different in their preferences, moral principles, and everyday habits, and accepting and adjusting to your partner's distinct traits might take some time and effort. There are generally 3 stages that spouses might go through on their way to a happy marriage. The crazy cycle is a very turbulent period of marriage marked by significant miscommunications. The energizing cycle is when spouses finally understand each other's needs and find common ground. The rewarded cycle is a peaceful period of mutual love and respect. Do you feel you and your spouse get stuck in the crazy cycle? No worries. With the proper determination, it might not last long. All you have to do is understand why husbands and wives have conflicts. As Eggerichs suggests, men and women speak in different codes and see their surroundings from different angles. Picture a world where people wear sunglasses daily. In the author's scenario, women would wear pink-colored sunglasses and men would wear blue-tinted ones. Different doesn't always mean incompatible. Try to find ways to complement you and your partner's unique aspects. Imagine a common situation in many households. A couple is preparing to go out, and with a sad look, the wife says, "I have nothing to wear." In women's code, she has already worn her dresses and blouses multiple times and would love to have something new in her wardrobe. Even though this situation bears no potential threat to the marriage, it shows how easily men can misinterpret their spouse's words. When husbands say, "I have nothing to wear," they mean they have nothing clean, so they might assign the same meaning to their wife's words and unintentionally overlook her frustration. Consider another example demonstrating the difference between men's and women's perspectives on the world. A husband has always been forgetful about their wedding anniversary. After 10 years of living together, he remembers the date. He gets excited and buys his wife a card, but when she opens it, she's unhappy. The card says, "Happy Birthday." What seems like a minor mistake to the husband appears as grave disrespect to his wife. Did you know? 5 out of 10 marriages end in divorce. Key point 3. Getting into couple philosophy. Your energizing cycle begins when you start actively engaging in your marriage and looking for ways to strengthen it. Interestingly, men and women can use different techniques to build love and respect in their union. Dear husbands, the key to your success is couple. Couple is the acronym that stands for closeness, openness, understanding, peacemaking, loyalty, and esteem. These are the main qualities a man should nurture in his relationship with a woman. Even the acronym itself hints at what women need in a marriage. The word couple refers to the connection between two people and their closeness. When faced with uncomfortable situations or conflicts, women reach out to their husbands. Their reasoning is not to stir even more chaos or take over, as some men may claim. They do so to connect with their spouses and devise a solution. In contrast, men tend to flee the scene and wait until the storm ends. When the ocean of marriage emotions becomes turbulent, a husband can feel as if he is drowning. Emerson Eggerichs. The first step to establishing a more intimate relationship with your wife is to get closer to her. Women appreciate face-to-face communication. They like to be seen and heard. Whenever you get home from work, don't rush straight to the couch or to take a shower. Take time to talk with your wife, talk about your day, and listen to what she's up to. Practice togetherness in your daily activities. Make dinner together, go for a walk, or spend your day off lying in bed and talking about your feelings and aspirations. Do not underestimate the power of hugging. Even a small gesture can fill you and your partner with warmth and love. Eggerichs found that marriage counselors notice a striking detail. Every time a couple comes into a session, a woman usually sits in a way to see both the counselor and her husband. The man, on the contrary, faces only the psychologist. It indicates how both genders feel about sharing their thoughts and emotions. Women often tend to be open to discussing what bothers them. In other words, they are expressive responsive. On the other hand, men usually hide their emotions behind unbothered facial expressions. They compartmentalize or shut down and ignore the elephant in the room. If you want to get closer to your wife, 1. Please don't make her decipher your thoughts. 2. Discuss your work issues, financial plans, or dreams with her. 3. Don't be afraid to start an intimate conversation and be candid. Key point 4. How to adjust your blue hearing set. Once you master closeness and openness with your wife, understanding between you two might come naturally. If not, then you also need to work on your listening skills. According to Eggerichs, similarly to blue sunglasses, men also wear blue hearing sets. When they hear someone is in trouble, they try to fix it. Men analyze, strategize, and jump right into action. It's a handy ability, but it often clashes with women's needs. Sometimes all they need is for you to listen to them, no actions required. Let your wife release her bottled emotions, both positive and negative, without judgment. One of the most crucial pillars that uphold relationships is the ability to make peace. Conflict in marriage is inevitable, if not necessary, to keep things passionate. As a husband, drop "forget it" from your vocabulary. Be eager to resolve any uncomfortable situation you and your wife have. Accept and apologize for your wrongdoings, and forgive your spouse when she's open about her mistakes. Conflict is like a spark that can either warm up your house if you learn how to resolve it, or burn it to the ground if you ignore it. Apart from building mutual understanding and settling your marital disputes, reassure your wife of your love for her. When she asks questions like, "Would you love me if I were a worm?" or "How much do you love me?" do not make fun of her or refuse to answer them. It's just your partner's way of putting her mind to rest. Generally, men are not very generous with the expressions of their feelings, and this behavior might upset their wives. Last but not least, show your wife your honor and esteem. Demonstrate that you value her by praising her and encouraging every attempt she makes in her work and personal life. This showcase of respect should not be limited to your house. Be proud of your wife in public, in your friend circle, and at work. If you have kids, such behavior will also be an excellent example for them of how to treat their mother and women in general. Key point 5. How to become your husband's biggest supporter. While husbands may find value in memorizing couple concepts, wives might consider their own guidelines. CHAIRS. This acronym, which stands for conquest, hierarchy, authority, insight, relationship, and sexuality, might initially sound bizarre, yet, much like couple, it's thought to reflect what some believe to be the nature of men. The notion is that many men enjoy taking a leading role, especially being the chairpersons of the marriage. Conquest in chairs has nothing to do with taking control of women physically or emotionally. It's more about a man's natural drive to work and be a provider. Interestingly, when two men meet, the first question they usually ask each other is, "So, what do you do?" It shows how much they value their jobs and are interested in other businesses. And jobless men may feel pessimistic and disoriented. Just take a look at the story of two fellows battling cancer. They were aware of the possible fatal outcome during their treatment, but remained hopeful. Fortunately, both men survived but lost their jobs. They reported that they had never felt so much depression while jobless, even worse than during their chemotherapy. That's why wives should never dismiss the importance of their husband's work. Always encourage your other half on his career path, have faith in him, and never criticize him for his mistakes. Recognizing and valuing each other's roles and responsibilities is essential for building a loving and healthy marriage. Another crucial factor is hierarchy. Again, it should not carry the negative connotations that some people might assign to it. Marriage hierarchy is not about inequality between a man and a woman or the superiority of one gender over the other. It's about men's responsibility to protect and provide for their families. Just look at how many people apply for insurance, most of whom are husbands. They want to ensure their wives and children are safe and set for life in case of any misfortune. For women, praising their husbands for their dedication to the family's well-being and showing their genuine admiration is essential. Even if your husband's business or job is his starting point, do not mock him for it. Instead, demonstrate that you support him no matter what. It will motivate your husband to move forward and accomplish even more. When most wives say they want their husbands to be the head, they mean not too much, not too little, but just right. Emerson Eggerichs. Key point 6. Balancing authority and cooperation in marriage. The concept of authority in chairs is very similar to those mentioned before, conquest and hierarchy. When you allow your husband to take responsibility for your family and call the shots, you simultaneously grant him authority. Of course, a man's power and control should never overstep healthy boundaries. Spouses should be in a loving marriage, not an authoritative one. If you, as a wife, get way too proactive when making important decisions or performing chores, your husband may feel less engaged in those aspects of the marriage, which might trigger conflicts and misunderstandings. Soften your grip and let your lover have some say in your union. Sometimes women want to take control in marriage and make all the necessary decisions, but they should recognize the power of their husband's insight. Married couples need each other. Only with cooperation can they create a long-term bond. While wives utilize their intuitive and emotional sides, husbands can evaluate the situation from analytical angles. In marriage, turn your problem-solving process into a group project rather than an individual task. Women prefer face-to-face communication, but what do men like? In one experiment, different age groups of men and women were invited to a room and asked to sit down. If they wanted to speak with other people, they could. When women entered a room full of other women, they would turn their chairs to each other and talk. Men, on the contrary, stayed silent. Scientists, therefore, concluded that they like shoulder-to-shoulder interaction. It's their way of bonding, so don't be surprised if your husband takes you hiking or hunting where you stay silent most of the time. Just be understanding and remember that your husband appreciates your time together. Don't forget about one of the most fundamental elements in a relationship: sex. Just as women feel the strong need to connect with their spouses on an emotional level, men also want to get physically close to their wives. Don't neglect intimate time with your partner. Take initiative and open up about what makes you comfortable and uncomfortable sexually. Remember that the thrill of sex doesn't stop with marriage and can get even better. Conclusion. In math, 2 will never become 1, but marriage is something that can make this mathematical miracle possible. When 2 people choose to be together, they are meant to align their souls and unite their minds and bodies. It does not mean they should lose their personalities and blend in with their other half. Women can still view the world through pink sunglasses and men through blue. But they also should prioritize mutual love and respect, foster a sense of teamwork, and cultivate a genuine friendship between each other. Building a harmonious relationship might be challenging, especially in the modern world where individuals have to navigate many other daily issues like financial burdens, job struggles, or monotonous routines. Remember that the journey is about unity and connectivity. You are not in this alone. Respect your other half, demonstrate how much you value them, learn how to listen to their words, and be open to communication. Only teamwork will bring you results and help you create a happy family. Try this. When in conflict, do not blame each other. Instead of saying, "You are heartless," or "You are disrespectful," describe how your partner's behavior made you feel. "It upset me," or "It felt unloving." Before expressing your thoughts, consider if your reaction and words can be hurtful. If the topic is too sensitive for your other half, it might push the wrong buttons. Always acknowledge when you both are getting on the crazy cycle and try to break the tension. "Hey, can I borrow your blue or pink hearing set sunglasses, as I don't quite understand what's the matter?"